All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel for another You Asked and I Am Going to Answer. And for this one, we're actually going to look at a clip from a previous video on this channel and a question about said video. Let's go to the question. Okay, this one is from J. Chuknowski. Please spell out what you meant around 1227 when you said the tube was quote-unquote set to the background. Did you mean value or ratio or something else? And here, I'm going to cue the video for your viewing pleasure so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But I like a little bit of contrast on the face. So what do? We just move the light around. And again, what are we setting the key light here to? These values, where you see it most exposed, that value is set to the background because it's just a single tube. Super fast, super efficient, doesn't require a whole lot of crew. Meanwhile, everyone else can be setting for the next shot. All right, now this is going to be a super simple You Asked, I Answer video. Because what I am doing, anytime you're in an environment where you control all of the set, the entire thing, all of the lights on the set, there's nothing that you cannot control. You get the beauty of setting your camera up with the thing that is the hardest to control. And if you think about this particular environment where we're in this bathroom, there are tons and tons of variables that affect the ambient lighting, like the biggest parts of the room. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to be changing the thing where we have to change the most amount of variables in between setups. So we've got to do a wide shot, then we've got to do an over the shoulder, then we have to come around and do this other angle. Every time we're switching the angle, the thing that we want to keep constant is the thing that has the most variables to change, because that means it's going to take the longest to change. So anytime you're lighting a shot, there's lots of different parameters that you can adjust. You can set the key at a value of 100. And then you can see, well, now the background is super, super dark if I expose for the skin properly. Like say we take a light meter reading here on this key light, and instead of reading, I don't know, the camera, is it, what is that, like T2s? So instead of reading T2 here, it reads T5.6 because there's so much light being output from the fixture. Well then, okay, I have to ND or I have to iris down on the camera. And as I iris down on the camera, the background is getting darker and darker and darker. Now, to lift the ambient behind me, that's going to take a lot more work. It's going to take way more work than just going up to the key and going, why don't we just knock down the level on the key until it reads T2, because that's what the camera is set at. So we have options, we have variables. The thing that is more complicated is the thing that you don't want to adjust in between sets. Now, sometimes if you're shooting on location, you don't have the option, right? Sometimes you'll change direction and you'll now be looking out a window, or you'll be looking into an area, or if you're already outside, you can't control the sky. And if the sun pops out or if it gets overcast, you're going to have to make those adjustments on all of the different variables to compensate. You're not just going to be able to use ND. You're not just going to be able to use the key. But I would say when you're in a studio environment, you can use the key as the control. It's like, I'll adjust the key relative to the background because I know the background is going to take 25 minutes to change versus the key. We just wind down, or we just add a little bit of softness to it, or we just take a little bit of level away, or we just waste some. It's like, also, it's significantly easier to manipulate myself. And when I say myself, I mean, if I'm in that environment where I'm in the bathroom and, I don't know, for some reason I can't adjust the key, let's just say, I don't know, it's off the cards, can't do it. I have to adjust the background. Well, normally there's 2 or 3 elements that are going into the background. In this case, we had windows that were flagged off to not allow any ambient in, and then we had tubes placed in those windows to give us one full baseline level of ambient in the room. Well, then to adjust that baseline, I have to tell the gaffer. The gaffer then has to tell the lighting team that it's outside. So we're funneling through various filters, and all along the way, noise can enter the channel, right? Noise between the signal, which is me wanting the ambient up, and the end of the line who are actually going to turn those dials up. Nowadays, it's getting better because you have the gaffer who just has the iPad right next to you, and sometimes that's super quick and efficient. Still, there is friction. And if at any point along the way, when you're working with a team, you can eliminate friction, you're going to be significantly faster. And you say, well, why does, what's 60 seconds? Doesn't really matter. 60 seconds is not that long until you get on a set with real people, with real people who are not always super locked in to making sure that the ambient is just right? You'll have and not that it's their fault, but the lighting team, maybe they step off. Maybe they're going to go to the next setup. Maybe they're not right next to the lamp, or maybe the iPad, dies, or whatever it is. There's always going to be issues. So anytime you can plan ahead and go, How can I remove as much friction as possible? That's the best thing to do, I have found, in my experience. Remove as much friction. When it's just the key that I have to worry about, it's in the room with me. It's like, I can just physically touch it. I can pull the thing down myself. I can rotate it. Now, if you're on a professional set, normally the lighting team, the grips, they don't like you playing with the things, right? They don't like you playing with their equipment. Even though you're the cinematographer, it's like, because they've set it up a very specific way, they have to look after it. They're responsible for it. They get in trouble if something goes wrong with it, or if you plug in the wrong thing to the wrong spot and the whole house blows. It's like, yeah, I get it. But my job is to make problems. Your job is to make sure those problems don't completely ruin the entire shoot day. Okay, I'm out there looking for, I like to tinker with things, and when people turn their back, I'll just adjust the key real quickly. I'll take the output down in percentage-wise when no one's looking. And not to say, you're not breaking the rules when you do that. It's just, there are protocols on set. And if you break those protocols, just like any hierarchy, you start to get issues. But sometimes it's more efficient to bypass those hierarchies and just go, you know what? It would look better 2% down. It would look better 3% down. Also, just remember, at all times, nobody cares about the difference between 1% and 2% down. Nobody cares about those things except you, right? The talent that's in front of the lens, they're trying to memorize their lines. They're trying to remember, if they have stuff in their teeth or whatever it is. The director has 10,000 different things they're thinking about. The producer's trying to get out of there on time. The locations manager's worried about the hole you put in the wall before with the dolly. The grip is hungry. All of these people. You're the only one looking after the image. So that little snippet there is, if you can identify before you're shooting, right? Before you're shooting, you get good at it over time, and you can do it while you're shooting. But before you're shooting, just have a quick think of like, okay, if things don't line up perfectly when we set up all of the lamps, what is the most efficient path forward in terms of what's the least amount of things I have to change to affect the image so that I get something closer to what I actually want? And that is the path that you should select. Okay, as you get better, maybe you want to challenge yourself. Maybe you're bored on set. You got nothing to do. Maybe you want to see, how hard can I make this? Maybe Patrick is wrong. Maybe I should experiment with, let's try and affect the ambient versus the key. Or let's try and alter the backlight versus the key. It's like those things you can play with all you want. I'm just saying, in my experience, it has shown that the easiest way to get something that you're going to be happy with in the end is to work with what is the least amount of variables. Also, you can almost think of it too. It's like, even if it's harder to ultimately manipulate or change, I will just default to whatever I am physically closest to. So if I'm in the room with the thing and I can change it real fast, I will change it real fast before I go up to the next level. Now, of course, this is all situation dependent. If everyone's sitting around, like waiting for instruction, okay, I can hand those out pretty quickly and I can get the team activated and moving. But if everybody's doing stuff, if everybody's working on a problem that you've already asked to be solved, well, now you have to take matters into your own hands. Now you start to go and play and mess with things, and pretty soon you're messing with color temperature and ND in front of the lens, and everybody's super pissed because, they left the camera and they left the image in a certain way, and you have manipulated it 10 ways from Sunday. And that's just life. They got to get used to it, because you know what? You, cinematographer, you hire quite a few people. And if those people are not nice to you, you get new people, unless there's no new people. Then you're stuck with those people. So just be nice by default. Be nice to all the crew. Okay, that is going to do it for this one. Many thanks. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.